Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome. Just letting these guys get their faction picks in. Looks like the faction picks are in, so let's go ahead and switch here. Alright, so see if I got my overlay all situated. That is triggering me a little bit because it's slightly off, but we'll try and ignore that as best as possible for now. There we go. It's still triggering me a little bit, but there we go. I think that's as good as it's gonna get, guys. Alright. Welcome. Today we've got a matchup between Sarmatian and Arin. So definitely in for a wild battle. First matchup is going to be Wood Elves versus Vampire Counts. Steppes of Isha Heartlands is the map. And should be a grand old time. Alright, just looking through a couple of things here. Alright. Just wanting to look here. Make sure we've got the maps, everything right. Yeah, week 4. Alright, Steppes of Isha special. Sweet. Welcome. It is time indeed. About that time again for some Warhammer Fantasy League. Yes, indeed. I wonder if I can pull up here. So if we actually look here, you know, I was going to show you guys the standings, but because a lot of the games haven't been played yet, we're going to hold off on that for now. But for those of you who are interested, I have included a link to the bracket in the description if you want to go check out the standings for yourself. Let's do it. I am ready. So we'll go ahead and fade out the beautiful Medieval 2 music that has been keeping us company for now, and we'll go ahead and jump straight in. Alright, so let's go ahead and come over here and we'll just drop that down. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you, Scruff McBuff, Erasmus, Ponky Poi. We got all the crew coming out today, joining us for that Warhammer Total War Fantasy League action. So this is number 3 league. We're taking a look at a best of 3 series between let's see here, Sarmatian and Arin. Yes, indeed. So, Sarmatian's got the Wood Elves, and Arin has got the Vampire Counts. So I do think that's a pretty tough matchup, potentially, for the Vampire Counts. I'm interested to see the build that Sarmatian's brought here, but I'm also interested to see what Arin's brought. It's potentially a very tough matchup, just because the Wood Elves have a lot of good tools. But we'll see. We'll see what the army compositions. I guess I can kind of talk about potential army compositions now that neither of them are actually picking their armies. You know, Treemen are definitely very strong in this matchup. Potentially Durthu as well. you know, they just have a lot of anti-large armor piercing, which tends to be tough for the vampire counts to deal with. Graveguard are pretty decent in this matchup, but they can kind of get cycle charged down by Wild Riders. They're not going to do anything to Tree Men. You know, a lot of the specialty units that you would expect to be good against Tree Men are just not that great at the end of the day. So it's a little bit of a rough matchup for the old vampire counts, but we shall see. We shall see. I've been seeing a lot of people trying to take the vampire counts in tournaments recently, but I just think they have too many unfavorable matchups right now. I would definitely say the vampire counts are probably tier 3, probably the bottom of tier 3 as well, in my opinion at least. But yes, this is the number 3 league. Scruff McBuff, yes indeed. So it looks like we're just getting loaded in now here. These guys are all across the world. I'm in the US. I believe Arin, I'm not sure where he's at. I know Via Militaria, his clan is a Russian clan, if I am correct. So he might be Russian. Sarmatian, I believe, is probably in the UK. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, we got players all over the world, connecting from all over the place, so it does take a little bit of time to connect, but let's go ahead and take a look at the army compositions. Very strong flying force for Sarmatian here. He's got a Glade Lord up on a Great Eagle here. Spellsinger also on the Eagle. Forest Dragon, 3 units of Hawk Riders, 2 Glade Riders up front with some, let's see here. He's got some Eternal Guards, 1 unit of Treekin, and yeah, 4 units of Eternal Guards. Very, very interesting. Very heavy skirmish and flying build here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Arin's brought. He's got Manfred von Karstein up on the Zombie Dragon, 2 units of Fell Bats. Blood Knights out on the flank with another unit of Blood Knights out on the other flank. Infantry composition is going to be mainly Graveguard, as to be expected. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Graveguard with the Stearnsman. We've got also 1 unit of Skeleton Warriors out here, the Tithe, Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone for that nice regeneration, and I do believe that is pretty much it for the vampire count. So relatively straightforward. The Blood Knights are definitely going to be strong here, but we'll see how he's able to deal with this very heavy skirmish presence from Sarmatian here. I'd imagine he's going to want to take advantage of all of the Dragon Breaths and all the ammunition on these Hawk Riders and the Glady, these Glade Riders as well. They're going to be a huge, huge menace to something like the Corpse Cart. Even these Blood Knights will potentially struggle. Let's see, I do believe the Hawk Riders do armor piercing in melee. They don't have an armor piercing missile attack, thankfully. That would be really, really annoying. But they do have armor piercing in melee. Not the best combat stats, but if they come in like a rear charge situation, they can do a lot of damage to something like Blood Knights or Graveguard. So pretty decent in this matchup, all things considered. It's going to be interesting to see how this aerial engagement unfolds with these Fell Bats and this Zombie Dragon here. So yeah, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this Wood Elf army. I think you can just go fairly headstrong and just bring a Treekin Death Star and just grind the vampires down. Then again, it's just probably a difference in playstyles. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this very strong missile kind of kite playstyle. That's just me, but we'll see. We'll see how things are able to unfold here. Let's see here. Hang on. Let me see here. We may have had a rules break, so let's go ahead and just check here briefly. I want to check the army limits real quick. Oh yeah, how about that? One Graveguard too many. There should only be a limit of 4 Graveguard. Let's see, because I think there's, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the Sternsman. If you just want to put one of the grave guards in the corner, I think that would be fine. And then just don't use them. I think that's how it's said that we are to do that here. Let's see here. Okay, I guess never mind. He gets to play with the rule break, but there is a potential for points deduction. I didn't realize. But okay, now I know. So, the game is underway. We're going to be seeing this heavy skirmish presence coming in, immediately focus firing on that corpse cart, which is a very good target. You can see it's already taking about 20% HP damage. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this unfolds here. You can see trying to screen out pretty effectively with these fell bats here. Honestly, Manfred should probably just pounce in on this blob right now since he's got a lot of these high-value units kind of clogged up in these fell bats here. Because if he can get some solid attacks on these, you know, the Gladian and so forth, it could potentially get a lot of damage done. That being said, he's going to have to be careful. Manfred is kind of in this concave of fire right now with all these Wood Elf units, so he's going to have to be very careful if they all decide to open up shots on him, especially once the support's gone. And yeah, you can see just getting mobbed completely by these Hawk Riders here. That armor-piercing melee damage is going to be very brutal, and all of a sudden, without any support here in the air, Manfred is in a big bad situation. A lot of trouble here. You can see desperately popping the invocation. Pravon Athrema, though, going to put him in place, and I think that might be it for old Manfred, buddy. We'll see kind of how things go down, but yeah, he's crumbling. It's it's pretty bad for the vampires at this point. They have been able to catch some of these Glade Riders with the Blood Knights here. This unit's pretty much done for. This other unit is going to be able to escape, but Manfred, though, crumbling away like this so early on is going to be just devastating for the vampire counts. Absolutely brutal. Another Dance Macabre trying to get Manfred out of the situation desperately. He needs to get down onto the ground as quickly as possible to get the support of those Blood Knights. So it does look like he's going to be trying to come down and probably get on this unit of Glade Riders right here. And yes, indeed, that is what he's doing. Very nicely played there, trying to come back from this desperate situation. If these units try and follow him onto the ground, you can see his leadership is coming back, and that doesn't mean he's going to be able to pop that upgraded invocation. That overcast almost kills him, but he does get it off there. Some desperate healing needed there. Really pitched a desperate fight for the vampires at this point. He needs to be able to find a target on the ground that he can come down to. Otherwise, these Forest Dragons are just going to run shop on him all day, or the Forest Dragon and these Hawk Riders, rather. But yeah, you can see Manfred with that invocation was able to heal up to about 20% HP. Still, though, rapidly approaching his healing cap. Just the gooning power of these Hawk Riders really surprised me. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised without any support there. But Manfred going to come down, break the bracing bonus, and then the Blood Knights coming in, also screening out a little bit. I don't know that Manfred's going to be able to survive this. The anti-large armor piercing of the Eternal Guards on station, as well as the dragon and everything coming down into combat. Even with the support of the Blood Knights here, I think Manfred's going to go down. So let's soak up some of this cinematic action as we watch what happens. Manfred is able to get up a zombie summon. He's not quite dead yet. 320 hit points and crumbling, though. A really desperate situation at this point. Manfred will probably be down momentarily. Hung on a lot longer than I expected, though, all things considered. He's still fighting at the end of the day, but less than 100 hit points now at this point, and Manfred does go down. So that's going to be really tough for the vampires to deal with. These Blood Knights are now also kind of caught out of position where a lot of their unit models are being dragged down by the dragon and these Eternal Guards here. Meanwhile, though, the mainline fight is just barely getting underway. You can see, despite the loss of Manfred, the balance power is not too far out of the realm of possibility for the vampire counts. But as this corpse cart starts to take more and more damage from the missile fire now up in the air, the balance of power, you can see, is going to start tilting more and more in the Wood Elves' favor. Without the healing, the vampire counts front line just can't sustain, so very rough situation. Yeah, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the vampire counts in this patch. I think they're honestly probably the worst, if not one of the worst factions right now. They just struggle in so many matchups. A lot of matchups are even, but I don't think there's any matchup besides maybe the greenskins where they have a true advantage. But yeah, it's a really, really tough situation for the vampires in this case. They are able to clean up a lot of these Eternal Guards here in the center. You know, a little bit of a consolation prize there, but the Treekin are coming down, and there's still just all these Hawk Riders on station as well. You can see the Blood Knights pulling away into the forest, trying to just weather the last of the ammunition here. You can see a lot of these Hawk Riders and so on, though, still have about half their ammunition left, though, so very rough situation. Prey of Anathrema going to be used on this unit of Blood Knights, and then the air power, the Wood Elf Air Force is going to come down, kind of like in that cinematic trailer for the Wood Elves, you know, where the Hawk Riders come down and just start massacring a bunch of beastmen. It's pretty much what this is like, except with the vampires instead, so... No, there's no army limit. This is all well within army limits. 3 units of Hawk Riders is totally fine. He didn't go over the number of total missile units either. So yeah, this is a totally legal army from Sarmatian here. The key is to not pick vampire counts. Honestly, in my opinion, like that's just. It's kind of rough to say that. I know a lot of people really like the vampire counts, but that is my honest opinion. Even in a faction ban system like the one in this tournament, you just don't take the vampire counts. They have a bad matchup against the Tomb Kings, they have a bad matchup against the High Elves, they have a bad matchup against the Wood Elves, they have a bad matchup against Chaos, even the Dark Elves are tough to deal with. I mean, just all across the board, the vampires are really struggling right now. So personally, in a competitive sense, if I were playing in a tournament or in a league, I wouldn't take the vampires in any situation. But that's just me. Yeah, I mean, even if he had brought a Ground Lord, maybe Vlad on foot would have been a lot better, but even still, I mean, he would have just had to weather the storm, and the Graveguard would have got, or the Corpse Cart would have got sniped out easily. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. Maybe if he just brought masked bats and Vargeist, but then Vargeists are going to be a huge risk to Glade Riders and infantry skirmishers from the Wood Elves, so there's just, in like the Treekin Death Star, for example, that you guys have seen me take probably before if you've watched my channel, it's just, I don't think the vampires have a prayer in this matchup. So, unsurprisingly, it is going to be a victory for the Wood Elves. Sarmatian takes that one 1-0, so the rule break didn't end up mattering, although it is technically a rule break to have the 5 Graveguard regiments for down do count. So, we'll go ahead and pop up the screen blocker here one more time as these guys start to pick their armies here. And shout out to the Karl Franz in the New World Is that New World Colonies or Sudenburg colors? I think it's Sudenburg, but it's one of my older thumbnails from back in the Mortal Empires days. Fun stuff. So, now I believe it's Sarmatian's Sarmatian's turn to pick and ban. So let's go ahead and just move this guy over here. All right. Yeah, it would have been better to have an infantry lord for sure. I think Vlad is probably the best option against the Wood Elves. I mean, you're kind of sacrificing any tactical flexibility. Alright, Sarmatian's going with Chaos and banning Dark Elves. So, I'm very excited to watch this. I love Chaos, one of my favorite factions. But, yeah, I mean, Kemmler himself, he's a smaller target, but he would have just got shot up as well, I think. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Vlad, I think, is really the best option there, just because then he won't die. And that's the main thing with the vampire counts, is you need your general not to die, especially because you're going to be getting invocations and, raise dead. That being said, I mean, Vlad's not... out of all the infantry tank, archetype lords, I would say he's one of the more useful ones. I mean, the beguilement's really good, and yeah, he has a utility of what is it, Lord of Vampires, and he's decent. All right, so Beastman. Arin's going with Beastman. So Beastman versus Chaos. Love this matchup. Two very headstrong factions. Definitely in for a bloody battle. Red Duke on foot? Possibly. I mean, the Elf-Thief is going to be nice, but again, you're just going to face the problem that all your support units have relatively low armor. All your monsters have relatively low armor. I mean, other than maybe going with a really heavy cav-centric build, maybe that could work with a lot of Black Knights and Blood Knights. And Hounds and stuff. Maybe something like that could work. I don't know. Next Legendary Lord. I would love to see the High Elves get another Legendary Lord. They're probably the weakest of the Game 2 factions right now, so I think the High Elves need a Legendary Lord. You think 4 Marauder Javelins? Probably. That's what I would take. Marauder Javelins are pretty solid in this matchup. Maybe even Marauder Horsemasters. They have the better combat stats. Granted, they are a little bit slower, but yeah, we'll see. We will see. Start the Ek build. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Let's see. We can go over the army limits real quick for those of you guys who are curious. I think that would be kind of fun. So while these guys are picking their armies, let's go over to here. And I will briefly just pull up the tournament page here. So we go ahead and take a look at the army limits down here. So minimum 300 models, max 2 heroes. Chariot mounts count towards a single entity, and you have a 2 cap. Monstrous mounts also count towards single entity. 1 of each rune or spell. 1 max ability that immobilizes. Max of 4 of the same unit, unless they're 400 gold or under, then you can bring 5. Obviously regiments of renown count as the same. Poison, javelins, blasting charge, all that count as the same. Yeah, 6 maximum of 6 360-degree shooting units. Includes heroes, but not lords. Max 10 ranged units in total, not including artillery. Artillery is capped to a max of 4. And let's see here. There are some exemptions to certain things. Max 3 Dragon Princes, Way Watchers, 4 Shabti of any kind. Max 2 Cygors. In other words, you can't take both the Cygor summon and a true Cygor. Max 2 single entities of the same unit. Max 2 single entity monsters over 1450. You can take an additional monster under 1450. There's some super weapons like the Star Dragon, Skink Chief, and Plague Furnace. That rule is a little bit flexible right now, but looks like these guys are ready. So let's go ahead and get this dropped back down, and we'll get back into it. Crypt Ghouls, let's see. If Tyrion were able to take a dragon mount, yeah, it could make a difference, I think. He has amazing combat stats, so I think it would make a difference. Sun Fang as well, and the Heart of Avalorn. I definitely think he would make a difference, yeah, if you could take him on a dragon. Let's see. It is too late to join the league right now, Brandon. If you want to join tournaments, I can point you in the direction of some tournament discords. The league is going for the time being, but once this season's over, I don't know exactly what the plan is. We could potentially be doing another season and open it up to more people. I know within kind of the structure of the league, they were wanting to, between seasons, move people up and down between leagues, similar to like a English football, you could say, where the teams, if you do well, you move up. If you do poorly, you move down, and so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and take a look at the army compositions now that we've got loaded in. Archaon the Ever-Chosen, very interesting. He's got Slayer of Kings here, giving him insane weapon strength, Burning Head, Flaming Sword of Ruin, and Fireball. Probably looking to smash Morgur's teeth in, I would imagine. He's got 5 units of Chaos Marauders, 2 units of Chaos Warriors, Sword and Board, 2 Halberds, 2 Chaos Warriors with great weapons, so lots of Chaos Warriors. Chaos Poison Warhound here, 2 units of Marauder Horse Masters, another Halberd out on the far side. And let's see, what else? That's pretty much everything interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Beastman's build. Morgur the Shadowgave, Brace Shaman, Lore of Death, and Gorbel. He's also got 2 units of Centaurs with Throwing Axes, 4 units of Bestigor Herd with 3 Ungor Spearman Herd up front as meat shields. Also 2 more Centaurs with Throwing Axes, so a fairly headstrong Beastman build. Pretty typical of what you would see. I do like the 4 Centaurs with Throwing Axes, very strong units in almost any matchup. Gorbel I'm not as big of a fan of, just because his light mass means he gets tossed super easy and generally has a hard time being super effective. Morgur, if Archaon pops Flaming Sword of Ruin and gets a hold of Morgur, he will destroy him, especially with Slayer of Kings active. But he is going to have to watch out for this Death Shaman. I mean, obviously, Spirit Leech is going to be a big danger to... let's see here. It's obviously going to be a big danger to Archaon, but we will see. So, I love this map too, man. This kind of map, in my opinion, really favors the Beastmen because it's got, all these kind of crags and kind of hidden areas, all this weird kind of strange terrain. There are a few choke points here, though, that you can potentially fight in, and that fight, I think, would potentially favor the Chaos Warriors, just because they have a lot more grinding power. The 4 Bestigor are pretty powerful. They'll cut through a lot of these Chaos Warriors, but I think there's just too many Chaos Warriors on the board, so let's go ahead and kick it in. Yeah, let's do it. All right. Yeah, no Beastman units except for the Gorbel really have a chance against Archaon. I would agree with that. He's going to have to be careful about Gorbel, but the thing about Gorbel, again, is his low mass. So if you can knock Gorbel over or like send him flying across the map, then he's not going to be able to get any attack animations in, right? So you can see right off the bat we've got a huge pitched skirmish engagement going down. These Marauder Horsemasters, although they do have a bit more armor, are obviously going to take a lot of damage from those throwing axes. You can see likewise that one of those units of Centaurs with throwing axes took a ton of damage from those javelins. Something going off there. Looks like maybe a fireball. Oh, very nice. Picked off like 4 or 5 of those Centaurs. That's pretty decent. I didn't realize fireball is actually pretty good against low armor targets. So yeah, pretty good stealth pick in this particular matchup. You can see Arin is going to be advancing up the hill here. Honestly, he could probably sit back and develop this skirmish phase a little bit more. If I were in his position, I would have just probably hung back over here on the hill and let my Centaurs do a little bit more work before really taking this engagement. But it looks like he's going to be trying to push up and around this side here. Honestly, Sarmatian should probably just collapse on him at this point and try and get him in this kind of unfavorable situation here. It looked like he was maybe going to do so, but now getting some attack orders issued. Fate of Buna on these Chaos Warriors with great weapons. Pretty decent target. I guess if there's going to be anything you want to use your Fate of Buna on, it'll be that. I'd imagine, though, personally, I'd probably save and just overcast Spirit Leeches so that I can Spirit Leech Archaon from a distance. But that's just me. You can see that Chaos Warrior has taken a lot of damage, and these Marauders, although they are facing up against Bestigor, have a very favorable uphill engagement. You can see more Marauders coming down the hill, going to be engaging on these Beastmen units here, so a very favorable situation. And oh no, the Burning Head! The Burning Head! Oh man, that's devastating to the Beastmen front line. All those low armor units just got shredded by that Burning Head. You can see the Ungor Spearman herd getting routed off. Bestigor didn't take as much damage there, but man, that was brutal. Archaon needs to hook up and around. Morgur's right there, so just get in there, get on Morgur and just punch him in the face with your flaming sword. Marauder Horse Masters firing in a little bit on this pocket here. The Chaos Warriors with Halberds will definitely lose to Bestigor herd. Chaos Poison Warhounds also getting crushed by Centaur. No big surprise there. A little bit of a pitched engagement here in the center. The Chaos Marauders unsurprisingly being bested by the Bestigor. Of course, they are the Bestigors. But in this mainline engagement as well, just plain old Sword and Board Chaos Warriors and Chaos Warriors with Halberds aren't going to do the best here. Gorbel is going to take a lot of damage from those Halberds, but a little bit of a pitched engagement at this point. A huge fireball just scything in from the flank there. Holy cow, that was devastating. Man, Archaon's a monster. Already up to 95 kills between the what's it called? The Burning Heads and everything. A little bit of a dangerous situation diving in on the Gorbel, but he has popped Slayer of Kings now, so going to be getting in. He probably just wants to punch Morgur straight in the face again, but or just get straight in on Gorbel. That works too. You know, fortune favors the bold, I guess. So now stacking that Slayer of Kings with Flaming Sword of Ruin, so his weapon strength is up to 976. Just going to be kicking Gorbel's teeth in. Although Gorbel does have anti-large armor piercing, Archaon is super scary now with those buffs. So yeah, he is taking a little bit of damage here, but Gorbel's also getting dragged down by the Halberds around him. You can see he actually routes off there with a somersault, and a very rough situation. Honestly, though, things are starting to turn a little bit in the favor of the Beastmen just because this periphery engagement is going very heavily in their favor. A lot of those Horse Masters are being routed off. Now, it is going to leave these Centaurs with Throwing Axes relatively free to just sit here and fire in, you know, more or less at their own will. The question is, can Morgur escape from Archaon here? He does not want to take this engagement head on, so I would really imagine that you want to hook Morgur up and around and get the heck out of dodge here, because Archaon will beat the crap out of him, just not even close. But see, Archaon doesn't look like he has an attack order on Morgur himself at the moment, but probably is going to be directing some of his attacks there. There it is. Another Fate of Buna going to be going down, looks like, on this healthy Chaos Warrior with great weapon. Very nice play there. If Arin can collapse the rest of the infantry here, it is going to be a pretty tough situation for the Warriors of Chaos. You can see a lot of forces have been routed off here, and again, these Centaurs with Throwing Axes, very dangerous, just allowed to fire in like this unopposed. The question is, can he take down Morgur before that happens? If he can destroy the Beastman's leadership. Another really nice fireball just scything right through those Bestigor there. But at the end of the day, I don't think that he really has a stopping power right now to take down the Bestigor. Archaon himself is still super scary. He's been able to do a lot of damage to Morgur, but just hasn't been able to finish him off. Now Morgur, it looks like Archaon's turned his attention over to this Chaos Sorcerer. We are getting a nice rear charge in from these Chaos Warriors with Halberds that might be enough to break the leadership of these Bestigor. Still really hard to tell. Despite the balance of power being very heavily in the Beastman's favor, it is still a very close engagement at this point. At this point, though, yeah, you can see the tides starting to turn in more and more as this center pocket starts to collapse for the Warriors of Chaos. Archaon's going to push his way out of there and escape. He definitely doesn't want to get caught out, but if he can kind of maybe bait Gorbel out into an open engagement, you can see him coming around for another charge there. Another great burning head, going to be roasting a lot of these units in the center pocket, but it doesn't do the most armor piercing damage, so at the end of the day, not going to be able to help clean up those Bestigor. So what initially it seemed like a very favorable engagement for Chaos is going to start to turn against them, and I do think the Beastmen are going to take this one away. We'll see how things go here, but yeah, Archaon trying to get in here on Morgur, just not enough at this point. Morgur using that Call of Violence to keep the leadership of all these forces together here. Gorbel is going to come in here with what little health he has and get some attacks into the back of Archaon, and because he's not subject to Archaon's melee defense while attacking him in the rear, he will get much better damage done. You can see Archaon's able to get turned around though, but it is going to be a victory for the Beastmen. So very well played to Arin there, taking that uphill engagement, and those Bestigor, man, they just did not give a crap. Just cleaning up that mainline engagement, also cleaning up the periphery engagement with the Centaurs with throwing axes proved to be very key there as well. Gorbel definitely underperformed. I think honestly it would have been better off to just bring a unit of Minotaurs with great weapons. That's just my opinion. Being able to protect Morgur, though, from getting gooned by Archaon was definitely the key there. Archaon himself racking up 120 kills, but just the quality of infantry is not there for Chaos. I honestly think you cut these Chaos Warriors down, maybe cut these Marauder Horsemen to regular Marauder Horses, Marauder Horsemasters, cut them down to regular Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, and then use that extra funds to upgrade some of these Chaos Warriors to Chosen, because then you can just beat the crap out of the Bestigor head up. But very well played to both players. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that particular battle. Since it is a best of 3, we are going to be going to the ace match here, Game 3. So let's go ahead and just quickly review the rules for Game 3 here. For the faction picking, I believe, let's see here. Okay, so both players need to PM me their pick. So both players ban publicly, and then they both PM me their pick. So if you guys want to PM me on Discord or on Steam or whatever, either way works. So Arin is going to ban first, and then Sarmatian will ban, and they'll both pick in secret and send their picks to me. Let's see here. Yeah, Kolek is the manly pick. Terror is very good against the Beastmen as well. I definitely agree with that. I'd go with Kolek here and Lore of Shadows personally, but that's just me. That Penumbral Pendulum can help deal with Bestigor. It does more AP than the Burning Head. And I mean, obviously the Fear and Terror with Kolek is super strong. Yeah, I just don't think they had enough AP. So we'll just we'll see who these guys pick and ban, and then we'll go from there. Very fun series. I'm glad it's gone to a best of 3. It's always super fun when that happens. All right. Just waiting on Arin's bans, and we'll get Sarmatian's bans, and then we'll go. Okay. I'm here. Let me send a friend request here. Okay, here, Arin, Ben's VC. So now Sarmatian bands. And then yeah, you can PM me that way. You can PM me on Discord. And then let's see here. All right, Sarmatian bans Lizardmen. So now they'll both PM me their picks in secret. Yeah, it is supposed to be a secret pick, but alright, Sarmatian's going with the dwarfs. So a classic grudge match, Greenskin versus the Dawi. Let's see how things go. Very interested to see. This matchup can go a lot of different ways because the Greenskins can bring a variety of different builds. So I'm very interested to see kind of what happens. I mean, it's really a Wild West out here in terms of this matchup. Dwarfs are fairly straightforward. Regardless of the build they bring, you can more or less expect armored infantry. Spoiler alert, the dwarfs are probably going to bring some armored infantry. But beyond that, you know, it's really a Wild West in terms of what it could be. You can go with a very heavy missile build. You can go with a very headstrong kind of rush build. You go with a very defensive kind of artillery skirmish build. Greenskins, you know, you can go Gobos, you can go Black Horse, you can go Chariot heavy, Monster heavy. A lot of different ways you can go as the Greenskins here. So, very interesting matchup. I'm very interested to see how it goes. All right. Nasty Skulkers. Yeah, Nasty Skulkers pretty decent in this matchup. They have AP and the Smoke Bomb. The Fanatics, too, if you're on your micro at least, the Fanatics can do a ton of damage to Dwarf Infantry. The Goblin turn invisible thing, I do actually. When I bring the Gobbo Great Shaman on a wolf, I like to bring it just in case I need to hide from artillery or from a monstrous lord or something. You just pop that real quick and run away, and he's out of sight. It's Night Shroud is the name of the ability, the Lord Little Wasp spell. Hey, King Azazal, doing good? How are you? Just enjoying some tournament action here. We're in the ace match, best of 3, a Sarmatian versus Arin, Greenskins versus the Dawi, a classic grudge match. Definitely some grudges to be satisfied here. Welcome, welcome. just going to be underway in a moment here. Hey, King Azal, thanks for the donation, man. It means a lot. Still on that Empire kick? Yes, I am. Yes, I actually played a couple of games. I played a couple of games today that weren't very good. Let's say that they were super one-sided in my favor with the Empire. It's weird. I've been seeing a lot of people not bringing casters on ladder recently. I don't know why, if there's just a lot of new players that for some reason don't realize how powerful magic is, but yeah. I love the Empire. More Gelt and Witch Hunters, yes. I do have a match that's going to be going up with Gelt and some Witch Hunters, yes. Good old Barfazar. Yes, sirree. Yeah, Empire's good. I've been enjoying Bretonnia a lot lately, too. I've been trying out the High Elves. High Elves are in a rough spot right now. They only have a handful of matchups that I think are very favorable, and they have a lot of matchups that are kind of even-ish, but they also have some matchups that are pretty outright bad. Yeah, Outriders and Reiksguard, I would agree, are both very cost-effective right now. The Reiksguard got a minor AP buff along with all the Bretonnian cavalry in the last patch. And that minor AP buff just makes them so much better against armored infantry. And now I feel like they really shine as that kind of Swiss Army knife type cav. And that's kind of what I see Reiksguard role as, is that they're a heavy cav unit that can do just about anything. They're not amazing at any one thing. Like, they're not the best anti-infantry cav, they're not the best anti-large cav, but they can be pressed into any of those roles relatively effectively. So yeah, I am just moderating and commentating. I'm not participating in this particular league. The issue with me is that typically a lot of these leagues are fought on the weekends. Saturday and Sunday, where my day job is in restaurants. So typically, like, I would normally be at work right now, but because I requested this weekend off, worked with my staff so that I could take this weekend off, I'm here right now, but typically I would actually be working right now. So that's why I'm not a participant in a lot of tournaments, because unfortunately they're on days when I can't participate. So happy to be here today, though. I'm glad I was able to get this weekend off. Definitely going to be enjoying some time relaxing later on tonight. And today I'm just playing a ton of Warhammer, commentating, spectating, all that jazz. So probably going to be playing some Sea of Thieves in a bit with Italian Spartacus, which is going to be a lot of fun. For those of you guys who haven't seen that game, it's kind of an open-world pirate... I don't even know, open world pirate MMO thing. It's not really an MMO, but it's like I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to stream it yet, but probably will end up streaming it. So we'll see. That might be after I'm done with this. I'll be done after this match with this stream, and then after that we'll see. We'll probably maybe in about an hour or so. It's actually on the PC as well. You do have to buy it through the Windows Store, which will probably give you a disease, but you can get it on PC. Yep. And in fact, it's cross-platform between Xbox and PC, so Xbox players will be playing with PC players, and that could be an issue considering there are some light kind of first-person shooter elements to that game, but we'll see. We will see. And that's a game that if any of you guys have, I'll be, eventually down the line I'll be doing streams with viewers where we all jump in a ship and just have a bunch of shenanigans and just get drunk on the high seas and, do all that jazz. So look forward to that. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the army compositions. We've got a Rune Lord here for Sarmatian. He's carrying Rune of Wrath and Ruin and Rune of Negation. We've also got the Goblobber. 3 miners with blasting charges. We've got 2 Dwarf Warriors, one of which is the Warriors Dragonfire Pass. 2 Longbeards with Great Weapons, 1 unit of Slayers. Another Longbeard with Great Weapon, which is the Grumbling Guard here, with their beautiful green armor. I love these guys. We've got 2 units of Hammerers and 2 units of Bugman's Rangers. I love Bugman's Rangers, man. These guys are awesome. Charge defense against large, solid combat stats, regeneration, immune to psychology. They're really, really good units. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Greenskins list. We've got Morgrub's Mangy Marauders. Not surprising at all. These guys are an auto pick in most matchups, especially against the dwarfs where you're going to be facing a lot of armored infantry. We've got 4 units of Black Orcs with a couple of Meat Shield Gobbos up front. Make that 3 Meat Shield Gobbos. A couple of nasty Skulkers. 1 unit of the Warlord's Boys for that additional armor sundering. 2 units of Orc Boar Chariots. A Grimgore Ironhide on foot. Very cool. We don't get to see Grimgore too much, so he's in here looking all kinds of angry. We've also got an Orc Shaman. He's got Here We Go and Fists of Gork. Fists of Gork is going to be, it's alright against the dwarfs. I'm not the biggest fan just because it gives magic damage now, which is, it's a little bit rough against the dwarves because they'll be mitigating a lot of that damage. But, you know, it definitely helps buffing up the combat stats. Personally, Lore of the Little Y I think might be a little bit more useful here. Here We Go is very nice though, being able to like cycle that and WOG to get that continuous plus 44 across your whole front line for the most part. But battle is going to get underway, so let's go ahead and watch as things unfold here. You can see right off the bat, Goblobber is going to be targeting onto the high-value Black Orcs here. He is going to have to be careful. I really like Sarmatian's deployment, though, with this kind of very layered strategy here, where he's got multiple lines kind of in a defensive situation with the Slayers in the sweeper position. I also forgot 1 unit of Gobbo Wolf Riders way out in the corner. But, yeah, so far so good. Some nice damage coming down on those Black Orcs. We'll watch as these Gobs are lobbed here into these Black Orcs. It's going to do some damage, not the most at the end of the day, but already taking down 4 unit models, damaging the leadership ever so slightly. It is going to be, you know, all the help they can get there. Bugman's Rangers are going to have to be careful. It looks like one of them has been spotted already. I'm not really sure by what, though. I'm not really sure how this one's spotted and this one's not. That's kind of strange. But anyway, he's going to have to be careful if he gets charged in the face by those Orc Boar Chariots and so on. It's going to be pretty tough. Granted, Bugman's Rangers do have charge defense against large now, so it's not going to be the end of the world. But some really nice damage coming in on those Black Orcs. These guys are down to 50 unit models. They've dropped about 9 unit models already. You can see, though, we'll see if these Gobbles are able to get in here and at least disrupt this Goblobber for some time. It does look like the Slayers haven't been issued a charge order yet, so the Gobbles are going to be able to get in here and temporarily shut down this Goblobber. We'll see if Sarmatian's able to react in time here, but so far nothing on the Slayers yet. You can see blasting charges going down, just soaking that unit of Gobbos. 1 volley of blasting charges did about half HP damage. A few more charges going to be tossed in as they kind of trickle in there, and they should be pretty much off the battlefield. Very cost-effective use of miners there. You can see the Slayers still no charge order, so a very bad miss micro from Sarmatian here, losing that Goblobber early on. Very sneaky play from Arin getting in there with those Goblin Wolf Riders. Very well played to him. Those Slayers just standing there watching that Goblobber get slaughtered. It's super bad. But anyway, across the mainline engagement, though, it's going a little bit better for the Dwarfs. The Gobbos have soaked up a lot of the blasting charges, as was the intention here, but now Dwarf Warriors being tossed into Black Orcs. These miners probably should get in there and start supporting right off the bat, but Orc Boar Chariots charging through on this side, getting in some nice damage. These nasty Skulkers also getting in on these Bugman's Rangers. That is the 1 unit these Bugman's Rangers probably do not want to be fighting here. It's going to be a really bad situation for them, especially since they've taken a lot of shock damage from these Orc Boar Chariots. You can see these Mangy Marauders also firing in point blank with their armor-piercing missiles and these Longbeards with great weapons. So pretty rough situation for the Dawi so far. That being said, this Nasty Skulker is taking some fire from the other unit of Bugman's Rangers. Black Orcs charging up through the center with that massive Rune of Wrath, and they're going to be coming into contact with the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass here. Meanwhile, Goblins trading relatively cost effectively against Miners with blasting charges there. These Miners holding up this massive pocket here. Over on the flank, though, this Nasty Skulker getting a very favorable engagement against his Longbeards with great weapons. The Slayers being dispatched to chase after this unit of Orc Boar Chariots, but if it can get one nice charge through these Hammers, that's going to be some really good value, because Hammers are a very expensive unit. They do not have charge defense against large like what are they called? The Longbeards with great weapons. So, I mean, those Orc Boar Chariots are going to go down, but they did some nice damage there. And see, this main pocket is breaking up for the Dwarfs a little bit. Hammers are engaging on Black Orcs here. They will do very well, but with the Night Goblins also around, you know, dragging down their armor, and this Orc War Boss also attacking, or the Orc Shaman rather, also attacking them in the rear, these Hammers are in a desperate fight. They're not going to be able to pull this back, I don't think. We'll see, but Grimgor Ironhide also in the center, just beating the crap out of this Rune Lord, man. Grimgor will not take no for an answer. Just going to destroy these units in the center pocket here. He has been able to secure this left flank a little bit, though. These Longbeards are pulling back. Bugman's Rangers getting in some nice damage. Going to be also pulling in some fire onto these Mangy Marauders here. Again, just shutting down the Goblobber before it can get back online here. These Dwarf Warriors who have rallied, not being microed very effectively, but again here, Nasty Skulkers being routed off over here on the far side. Hammerers against Black Orcs. I do think the Hammerers would win this fight one-on-one, but whereas they've already taken some damage and the Black Orcs are relatively healthy, it is going to be very, very bloody battle. We'll see, though. Slayers are on station as well for some support, so maybe the Slayers can get a little bit of wrap here and they can clean up this unit of Black Orcs. It's looking rough for the Dawi, but not completely out of reach yet. These Dwarf Warriors are taking some damage. Losing this Hammer in the center, though, is a big loss. Meanwhile, one unit of Black Orcs has been dealt with. Another unit on the far side is getting relatively low. The Orc Boar Chariots also relatively low. These Nasty Skulkers have been routed off, so the Dawi are starting to pull it back a little bit. If they can just deal with these Black Orcs here, this unit has been dealt with. So it's really just this one unit here in the center of these Black Orcs that are still relatively healthy, as well as Grimgor himself is going to be a menace to deal with. He is taking some damage from these Grumbling Guard in here, but a really nice rear charge with that Orc Boar Chariot getting right into those Bugman's Rangers there. Then immediately, I'd imagine, going to be pulling in for a charge on these Longbeards with great weapons here. That being said, these regrouped Bugman's Rangers are going to start firing in. They should be able to finish off that Orc Boar Chariot. Meanwhile, over here, this regrouped Black Orc that has taken a lot of damage. I say regrouped. I don't think it ever routed off. But they have taken a lot of damage here, but they are able to clean up this center pocket. But this unit of Black Orcs, man, they're so healthy. I don't know that anything that the Sarmatian's got can really stand up, especially with this unit of Hammers taking all this armor-piercing missile fire from the Mangy Marauders there. Really rough situation. Let's see how this late-game situation unfolds. We've got the Rune of Negation helping mitigate a lot of the damage coming in on the Grumbling Guard and the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass here. This last healthy-ish unit of Black Orcs also charging in. It's a very pitched late-game battle here. We'll see if the Dawi are able to hold out. I don't have my hopes up, though. I think these Grumbling Guard are going to get pummeled pretty hard here. We'll see. They are dishing some damage back, and the Slayers and Hammers are coming in for a rear charge, so maybe the Dawi will be able to pull this back. If they're able to collapse this pocket right here and effectively rout all those units, I do think that they might be able to pull this back. This unit of Black Orcs is relatively healthy, but it's isolated, so the Slayers, here they come. The heroic Slayers in for a rear charge, going to be inundating these Black Orcs here. It does look like here we go being popped. So all these units are just going to be completely juiced in terms of their combat stats. That being said, they're being attacked from all directions. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass routing off. Another Rune of Wrath and Ruin also being dropped here, just withering away at the Black Orcs. A very nice value there. The Slayers are suffering pretty badly. Not quite enough morale damage to finish off this unit of Black Orcs here, unfortunately, because of all leadership support around. Grimgor himself is still here, and he's going to try and get a hold of that Rune Lord if at all possible. Now the Hammerers are coming in, though, so we'll see if maybe the Hammerers are able to turn this back in the tide of the Dawi. At this point, a lot of their units are shattering, so I'm just not sure if they were able to rout this pocket a little bit faster, but I just don't think they have the stopping power to take down Grimgor himself. This unit of Black Orcs might be routed, but Grimgor is not. Some brutal blasting charges coming in there. Grimgor, though, is just going to be chopping these Dawi to absolute bits. The Grumbling Guard here and the Hammers both just not able to stand up, I don't think, to Grimgor. we'll see. He is taking some damage. You know, as I say that, he starts to take more and more, and all of a sudden his leadership starts to look a little bit shaky. That being said, that relatively healthy unit of Black Orcs that had cleaned up, you know, all the way up through this side has regrouped with Grimgor himself. The Shaman also is routing off, so maybe a rear charge coming in from the Mangy Marauders, and at this point it's pretty much just the Slayers and the Rune Lord. If Grimgor can take this Rune Lord down, he should be able to take this match home. And I think that's pretty much it. It's still super close. There's a lot of Dawi fighting here. There's still some Hammerers, some Longbeards, but here comes the Nasty Skulkers, more Black Orcs, and I think this is the death knell for the Dawi here. So very well played to both players. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this series. I know it was a lot of fun for me to cast, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed casting it here. I think this is pretty much going to be a wipe for the Dawi here. You can see Hammerers routing off. I think it's pretty much just Slayers at this point. I think that Rune Lord's routing off as well. So, yep, just the couple Slayers at this point being massacred by the Greenskins. And that's it. Alright, well played to both players. Fun battle. Fun battle. Wow, what a just very close battle in the end there. It could have gone either way, but at the end of the day, those Black Orcs just not being dealt with. I honestly think if he had got those Slayers onto the Wolf Riders before they had shut down the Goblobber, I think he could have won that. Honestly, I think that was the critical engagement, is losing that Goblobber early on. Really rough situation for Sarmatian, but credit to Arin, you know, he's able to just push through very aggressively. Nice use of the chariots. One of the units didn't get too much work done, but the other unit, 57 kills on an XP chevron. You can see two of the units of Black Orcs, 182 and 135 respectively, two chevron, or a chevron each. 96 kills on the Mangy Marauders. They were also super cost effective, used up all of their ammo. 62 kills on Grimgor himself. For the Dwarfs, 156 on these Slayers with 2 XP chevrons, 114 there for the Hammerers and 2 XP chevrons, 98 for these Hammerers and 3 chevrons. Only 13 kills on the Goblobber, though. Again, I think that's honestly where he lost the battle. Again, and losing those Bugman's Rangers out on the flank was pretty rough as well, because he honestly needed them to deal with the Mangy Marauders. So, yeah. Very well played to both players. Yes, sir. We did. I did, Sarmatian. So, if you're watching this after the fact, very well played, sir. Very well played to both players. Hope y'all enjoyed watching that. That is going to be it for the stream for now, so I hope to see you very soon. Possibly we'll be back in a couple hours with some Sea of Thieves. We will see. We will see. But, yeah. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you next time.